Hello, and welcome to another Tech Ambrosia Saturday stream. Good to see you all here. I hope your week has been, going well. Hopefully a little less hectic than mine. In prepping for this stream today, I found the two key components I was going to need for this stream. My BlueSCSI V1 internal and my iFixit kit within 5 minutes of starting the stream. Now, of course, my BlueSCSI I couldn't find because I was keeping it in this pile of detritus over here, and it, of course, had fallen off the backside and was in an awkward location. That's my fault. This is also my fault, but this mostly fell victim to my maybe you're familiar with this. My putting this in a special place so I wouldn't lose it, which means that I promptly lose it. This is important because it's got my longest screwdrivers here, so that we can actually get into the deep screws at the top of the Mac Plus. Because we're cracking this baby open today. If you weren't aware, we are installing Joe's Clipper Plus. And Clipper Plus is a very cool little PCB designed by Joe's Computer Museum. And it clips onto the SCSI controller chip on a Mac Plus and gives you internal SCSI. Very clever, very clever. So, before we get started, let's go ahead and say hi to the folks in chat. We've got a light crew today. Ryzen 9 3900 XT is here, asks what is that? And that is what this is. We're going to put internal SCSI into a machine that was never intended to have internal SCSI. And then also we've got Garth Beagle here. Hello, Garth. Welcome back. Good to see you on the stream. And we've got Trina here from Trina's Technobabble. Also Charlotte Thorne. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Glad y'all could make it. So, yeah, we are... And yes, Trina says folks can buy this at Joe's website, jcm-1.com. I think it's, if you've got a Plus and you really want to put internal SCSI in it, this is the way to go. This is a super easy solution. And you can see this is, so clippers like this existed for a long time in the Mac upgrade world. Way back in the day, back in the bad old days, you'd get clippers that could clip onto the top of your CPU, because the Motorola 68000 was just this big, long, like, enormous dip chip. You just have an upgrade that clipped onto the top of it, and then either, usually, just took over the system's bus, and then provided whatever the upgrade or accelerator, would provide it. In this case, we are clipping over the substantially smaller SCSI controller chip on the back of the board. This is an alternative to John, Big Bad Biologist's solution. Which I have here, which actually requires you to desolder the SCSI chip and then resolder it onto this PCB, which then breaks out into an internal SCSI cable. If this were, 1986, these would be basically useless because there's no internal power to run your internal SCSI hard drives. However, the BlueSCSI, which is what this is intended to be used for, can get its power completely off of the SCSI bus, thanks to the termination power and how low power these things are. It's quite a clever piece of kit if you've got an old Mac, or even, I think now they're working on Amiga support. Pick one up. They're super, super inexpensive. Well, I mean, they're not like $2, but they're pretty cheap for what they do. And they're very, very powerful. Especially, this is a V1, the V2s are extremely powerful. This is my V2. You can see it uses a Raspberry Pi Pico, and in this case a Pico W, and it can expose the Wi-Fi on the chip, that little square there, as a SCSI attached Ethernet controller, so you can get networking onto old machines that were never meant to have networking either, which is kind of cool. We're not doing that today because this is a Mac Plus. It uses the original Motorola 68000 at 8 megahertz ish. And it's got the old, Mac 128K, 512K system bus. It's not fast. It's not a fast machine at all. She lives best in System 6 or earlier. System 7 and especially 7.5, which I think is what the BlueSCSI V2 SCSI emulators, the SCSI Ethernet emulator requires. It's not a fun time for this little machine. She has a bad time with newer versions of macOS. But putting a BlueSCSI V1 into Mac Plus makes a lot of sense. It cleans up the exterior. You don't have a bunch of stuff hanging off the back of it. Not that external V1s are particularly large. This is a V1 external without a case. This is a cool 3D printed case that came with the one that was gifted me by Ron of Ron's Computer Videos. Very cool. And then I printed one out not too long ago, just sort of to demo the color fab filament that I picked up. That's the same kind of beige as these old Macs, and I printed this case out for another BlueSCSI V1 external. I kind of prefer the externals, honestly, because then you can give access to the card, but there's solutions for that as well. On the back of the Mac Plus, which I suppose we're going to unplug it in a minute and I can show you this in detail, but there's a big battery holder for, I forget what size cell it is, but it's for the clock battery, the PRAM battery. And most of the time, you know, the meta on this is to remove that. Obviously, you don't want it to leak all over everything, but then you can replace it with a battery breakout board. You can put in, you know, a coin cell into a battery breakout board, and then there are prints, I believe, Gutbaum made a print for that cavity. You remove the battery holder, you have a cavity in the back of the Mac, and you can put in, like, you can relocate a micro SD holder onto the back of that, and then also have a breakout for TTL video, because Ron also made a TTL video mod for this, where you can just kind of siphon off the internal video signal and send it out to an external connector, and it essentially works as monochrome CGA. So you can throw it into a scaler and get some video out of it. That's my eventual plan for this machine, which is the whole reason I'm doing this in the first place, right? Because this, just having a BlueSCSI V1 hanging off the end of the SCSI port, real convenient, but I want to put TTL video out on this thing, and if I'm doing that, I may as well do the SD card relocation mod, which means I may as well put some internal SCSI on it, because that'd be super cool. My Plus is a little weird too, because I've got the external floppy drive here. Let me switch over to the desk cam. Y'all can see it. Desk cam is having a special day today, sitting on the desk instead of looking at the desk. So let's switch over to that, and I can show you what I'm working with here. So this is my Plus. I was given this in spring of 2000 by my high school art teacher. He had bought it new, so I'm the second owner of this Plus. It is, as you see it, other than a light cleaning, this is as I received it 24 years ago now. All it's really needed was a reflow of the analog board, and it works fine. Oh gosh, I forget who gave it to me, but I bought from a very nice viewer of the channel this external floppy drive for the Plus. It does work. It won't boot off the external floppy, but you can use it as a second floppy drive. This would have been a really, really hot setup back in 1986 to have the external floppy drive, because normally you boot this machine up and that's it. You're running off the primary floppy drive, and that's all you got. There's no... When this thing came out, there were no hard drives. The SCSI was added as a future expansion, and the original Apple hard drives didn't come out until I think the next year. And they were big external units that you plunked underneath the machine, and it gave you like 20 megabytes, maybe 40 megabytes of space. But yeah, so this was a high roller machine, or would have been a high roller machine back in 1986. Now about the Clipper Plus, this is going to give us obviously internal SCSI. Then we need somewhere to put our BlueSCSI, and that's this very nice 3D printed mount that Joe includes with the kit. And it's adjustable to fit a BlueSCSI V1 or V2. Right now it's configured for a V2, so we're going to have to pop these pins out and put them back in where they go for the V1. But yeah, let's boot the Plus, and I'll show you how she works stock right now. So I don't have a BlueSCSI plugged into it right now. This was the one that was plugged into the back. So if I fire it up, it's going to run through its memory check, and then it's going to look for a bootable disk in the internal floppy drive. And that's fine, because I've got one right here. How is chat going? Starbuck Tech is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Emcho Devetkov is also here. Hello, welcome to the stream. We're doing silly things to a Mac Plus. Trina says I bought an SE FDHD. That's awesome. That was the model that my dad would bring home a couple of times a week when he had a black and white Mac. So that one is very close to my heart. Of course, this one, you know, having owned it for 24 years, also very close to my heart. I would love an SE FDHD. FDHD was the very not marketing-friendly term Apple used for their high-density 1.44 meg floppy drive before they decided to call it the Super Drive. So anyway, we'll throw this boot disk in here, and you're getting the authentic Mac Plus experience. She boots off the boot disk and right into Mac OS. Now in 86, I think System 3 was the dominant OS at the time. This is running System 6. There wasn't I'll be honest, I don't think there was a whole lot of evolution between the original Mac system and System 6. But System 6 runs great on a Mac Plus. This one is fully upgraded. So if I go to About the Finder, you can sort of see that, but I've got the full 4 megabytes of RAM that a Plus can take. I'll move you around here. So you can see that's got the full 4 megs. You could open the machine up and clip a resistor and then install 4 higher density SIMs into the machine and go from 1 megabyte of RAM to 4 megabytes of RAM. Incredible. It was actually a pretty huge amount of RAM for a machine of this caliber for the time. It would have cost you a lot of money in 1986. So, she runs. That's the stock experience. We'll turn it off. Of course, these don't have soft power. There's the big old switch on the back, and that's how you turn it off. So, let's get the external floppy drive off of here, and then we can open this thing up and start working on the internal BlueSCSI. Tarina says, I'll sell you the SE FDHD for twice what I paid for it. Now there you go, that's a real wheelin' dealin'. Alright, so this one's pretty easy. It just unscrews onto the back here and unplugs. There's no separate power cable for the floppy drive. It gets its power over the data cable, which is nice, makes it convenient. This floppy drive needs just a little bit of retro brighting. The Plus is in brilliant shape, but the little floppy drive is a little bit yellow. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a good spot here in the apartment to do my own retro brighting. So it's gonna have to wait till after I move next year, sadly. So, we've got that unplugged. I have too much stuff. Gosh, I have so much stuff. Stay. Let's get the keyboard unplugged here. Early Macs used a phone cable for keyboard connector. This keyboard is in pretty good shape, it just needs to be cleaned. I was not exactly the cleanest person back in 2000. Stay. And then we'll get the mouse out of here. Now you might think these early Mac mice are serial, because that sure looks like a DB9 serial port. These are actually raw. The rotary encoder signals out of this mouse go straight into this cable, and the actual controller for the mouse is on the motherboard. It's on the logic board for the Plus. These are real primitive mice. And I mean, it traces its roots back to the original Macintosh in 1984. Like that was the state of the art back then. I imagine anybody who went to Xerox PARC to see their prototype mice didn't ask what protocol it was using. It probably wasn't. Protocol, what's that? Let's get a soft mat out so we can put this thing on its face. I'll show you what I meant earlier, though, about that's where the clock battery would go. And it was just an alkaline, you know, it wasn't a AA, but it was an alkaline, you know, whatever battery, prone to leaking after a few years. This one's thankfully no leaks. I got the battery out pretty soon after I got it. But yeah, this whole side of the machine, we'll see in a minute, this is where the analog board is. You plug mains power into the analog board, and that turns it into, it's basically the power supply for the whole machine. Motherboard is down here, and that's what we're going to be getting at today. So, let me grab a soft surface cloth thingy. I know just what to use. This will be silly. I have a big old mouse mat that I picked up back in December. Might recognize it. Nice and soft though. Alright, so where's my screwdrivers? These are Torx. Always forget what Torx these are. I don't remember if I even put the Torx screws back in the handle of this thing. Whoop, or not. Did I did. Yep, there they are. Legal disclaimer, this stream does not constitute advice for how to take apart your Mac Plus. Let's rotate this so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. So the iFixit screwdriver has this nice little hole in here. That's for getting extra leverage. So I usually just use the flexi bit to do that. There we go. So that means you can just push down on it, because the top of this thing spins. It's got a bearing in it. So you just push down on the bearing and just rotate this. Quite serenely. Get this screw out of here. It's coming. I didn't tighten it down super hard when I put it back together last time, because these are the worst. There we go. That's just about out. Come on. These just screw straight into the plastic. There's nothing on the other side that makes them nicer to screw into the machine. There we go. Exhumed the first screw. Come on. Get in there. There it is. It really doesn't want to come out of there. I thought I didn't put a lot of pressure on these when I put them back in. Are you not going to go in there? Oh, nope. You're too large. Awesome. It's a riveting stream already. Riveting. I'm so good at this. Okay, come on. The smarter Mac repair people in this stream, or present in chat, have dedicated drivers just for opening up classic Macs. Because it's such a pain to get at these super deep screws. It's the smart thing to do, honestly. It's the smart thing to do. That is much easier to move. Let's see if this will just come out now. Yes, it will. Ta-da! Alright, then these on the top here, we've got one here, we've got one over here. These are super easy to get out. Then, everyone's favorite part, splitting the case open. I hate this part. I've already chewed up the edges on this thing trying to get it open. Let me see. I've got some spudgers. Let me see if I can find some spudgers that'll work. You're not spudgers. You're spudgers. Okay. Several of these spudgers have bit the dust. I think these should still work. Eh. Well, this spudger's gonna bite the dust too. Again, the smart Mac repair people in this chat have a dedicated tool. I think it's called a Mac cracker to do this without destroying the spudger or destroying the Mac. Or your fingers. I don't know where any of the latches are either. That's probably my biggest issue. I knew where the latches were. I know where I need to concentrate my efforts. That's doing something. That is doing something. Nope. Oh, there we go. That's something. Just need to get the top unclipped. Sure doesn't want to go. Come on. Dave says, Amber, there are several ways to open the case. Yes, there are, and I don't know any of them. Every time I do this, it's a new experience. Oh, here we go. It's starting to come. Come on, please. Please open. Pretty please. Oh, there we go. Ah. Alright, so this is the fun part. There she be. And yes, signatures on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Yep, signatures on the inside. Fun, fun. Okay, so the thing we are concerned about is the logic board here. To remove it, it's pretty simple. It's anchored in with the rear case screws that I took out. That's these guys here. They also anchor in the motherboard, logic board, whatever. And then also there's power, of course, going in here. Move this around, you can see. We've got the power cable in here, and then of course you got your floppy cable connecting the floppy drive. Pretty straightforward. So let's get the floppy cable out of here. And then power should be pretty simple. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. And then the board just comes out. Super easy. It's gripped rather tightly by the rails on the side of the chassis. But generally, it just comes right out. Not difficult at all. So let's grab this, move it out of the way. Put you down over here. Okay. So, the chip we're looking for is, ironically, the one AMD chip on the board. Right down there at the bottom, that's the SCSI chip. Because of course it is. But this should, admittedly, I have not read any instructions on how to do this. You can see how John's solution relocates the SCSI controller chip onto this PCB. And then the clipper, which I put somewhere, there it is, the clipper is nice and small, low profile, and clips right onto the SCSI controller chip. So let's get this installed correctly. Do we have a marking for pin 1? Yes, sort of. So right on the back, come on camera, you can do this. Come on camera. You see we've got the marking up there in the upper left, rear. So this is the rear of the board. So the clipper goes on this way. Should be as simple as just sticking it on, hopefully. It clipped. It's on there pretty securely. That's internal SCSI on a Mac Plus. Yo! Yeah, that's on there pretty good. Oh, there we go. Missed the front legs on it. That's it on there all the way. Yo! That's pretty great. You can see it right in here. That's impressive. That's impressive. I don't know if you noticed. You probably didn't because my cameras are terrible. But the clip, the actual plastic part that like grabs onto the SCSI controller chip, is a 3D printed part. Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. Let's see if it works. And my 4 1MB RAM sticks, that, yes, they're from 2000. I don't remember where I had these, what machine these were in before I put them in here, but yeah. And then this is, like I was saying, you know, you get some accelerators that clip over the Motorola 68000. That's this. The original Motorola 68K had the endearing term applied to it, the Texas cockroach, because it's just such a huge chip. At least in dip packaging. And yeah, you know, fair. Like that's my hand. I don't have particularly small hands, and you can see that it's quite large. Let's see. I'm gonna do for reference here. Here we go. 3.5-inch floppy disk for reference. That's a big chip. That's a big chip. Oh. I love these old boards. Well before we had chipsets and high levels of integration, like just look at all this discrete logic on this board. It's so great. All right, let's get this thing back together and test it, see if it works. I am going to dam the torpedoes and just put the board back into the machine and hope everything works. Try not to set off all of my keyboard keys when I lay this down. Okay. Stream's still going. So pull the SCSI cable through here. I think while I'm inserting this into the chassis. Oh, this only takes like 3 arms. This is fine. Okay. Let's see. Too much hair. good. There you go. Oh boy, that SCSI cable's gonna have a bad time when it tries to go over the power connector. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, she made it. She made it. There we go. That is just enough SCSI cable, too. Nice. Okay, let's get the... Oh boy, let's get the power connector back in there. That's going to be lots of fun. So let's show you what I'm looking at here. There is the result of this. So we've got our new SCSI cable. The chassis, of course, was never built to accommodate it. So I think, yeah, I just gotta plug in the power there. Come on, come on. Get in there. All on the right pins. Don't want to blow up my plus. Right, it's on the right pins. Awesome. So, like no clearance for this SCSI cable, but it kind of works. Sort of wraps around the power cable. Get the floppy drive connected back in here. Goes in there. Okay. And there's the 3D printed mount for it, which goes onto the chassis. Alright, so just pop these little guys out, stick them back in here. Very cool. Very cool. That is not for a BlueSCSI V1. I don't think. Wait, no, that was... I had that set up for a BlueSCSI V1. Hang on. Yeah, because that lines up. Yeah, so we've got this here. And the BlueSCSI just lines up quite nicely. With those little pegs right there. Look at that. I'm gonna need some like M2, M3 screws. I have some. Where did I put them? There's M3 screws. Let's see what works here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Is that too big to go into the BlueSCSI? Yes. Okay. Alrighty then. These are too small, I think. Yeah, those are too small. Oh, what screws do you use to mount this? What are you? A random who knows what. What size are you? You're too big for the BlueSCSI. That's what size you are. Gut Bomb finally caught up to live. Eric's Edge says discharge your CRT to be extra safe. I'm just gonna be really careful around it because I don't actually know how to discharge it safely. And I'm pretty sure I don't have the tools I need to do so. Oh, Gutbomb also says, it looks like I never released the battery thing publicly. You should do that. It was a good print. Eric's Edge says I have a square driver with an extension taped to it. So that's the trick. That's the special tool for getting into the really deep screws. And Garth says I usually push on the power socket battery area. That makes sense. You push on this part while pulling and lifting up on the case. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, here's the thing, like, I can count on one hand how many times this machine has been opened in its life. Like, I opened it once in 2000 to put the RAM in it. And then it sat for 23 years until I got my hands on it again. And then I opened it once to do the reflow, or I opened it twice to do the reflow work because I had to redo it. And then this is number 4. This is opening number 4. Well, Gutbomb says I think I need beta testers for it, but I never pushed people to actually beta test it. I would be perfectly willing to beta test it because I really want to do the battery relocation mod for this and put some TTL video out on it because that'd be pretty great. Okay, so as far as securing this to the print, I don't have any screws I think that are going to work. I'm not sure what size screws it needs. I don't know if I have any sitting around here. Looks like I don't. Crud. Oh, nice. Thank you, Gutbomb. I do have the TTL outboard. I think it's an early rev though. If you've got a later revision, I'd take it. Otherwise, you know, hang on to it. It's no biggie. How do I secure this in place? Let's see, what way does this go on here? This must go on like this. Oh, I see. It just fits on a friction. Clever. Clever, clever, clever. That's horrible. I think I have a way to do this. I'm gonna get canceled for this one. Hang on. One sec. I need one more material. When I was setting up my studio, this office, which is where I run Tech Ambrosia from, one of the things I did, to take you on a little journey here. If you haven't seen a video from me in a while, I haven't done an A-roll piece for a while, so this hasn't really been on camera, but I have a big old wall full of sound dampening material in the channel's logo. I was very proud of this. And I built this, obviously using sound dampening tiles, but also clear double-sided tape. This stuff is unnatural. It's very sticky. I kind of love it. I'm going to use this. I'm going to get it canceled. But basically, I'm just going to put a row of it along the back of the BlueSCSI and just stick it to the 3D print. That's it. That's my clever hack. Super satisfying. Peeling it off. But yeah, that should go just like this. Ta-da! I have a BlueSCSI. Okay. I need an SD card with some bootable images on it, which I have. Where did I put that? That's this one. So we throw that in there. Ta-da! And that goes on here. Just like that. Happy as a clam. And SCSI cable goes in here. Probably would have made better sense to mount it upside down, but you know. Alright, plug this in first. What is your problem? There we go. It's a very particular SCSI cable. There we go. Doesn't quite stay in place, but it's good enough. Internal SCSI. Let's get the cap back on this thing, and we're good to go. We're gonna YOLO it. Testing, what's that? Suppose just well, before I completely latch it together, I suppose we can test it that way. Let's get the keyboard. Where did I put the mouse? There's the mouse. Okay, let's get things plugged in. See what she does. Okay. Do, 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 do. That was my phone. It's just the way that these cables are, right? Like, they seem perfectly fine when you're handling them with your hands. And then they touch something else, usually technology related, and suddenly they become the stickiest thing in the world. They either get caught on that cable, or they yeet whatever the heck they've been stuck on all over creation. Okay, power is in. Keyboard's connected, mouse is connected. So it's going to do the memory test first, which takes a while because it has 4 times the memory it was expecting to have when it was made. And then hopefully it boots. Yeah! Yeah! Look, Ma, no external BlueSCSI. Uh-oh, well that's not good. See what's going on with it. This system is a little modified. I got it from 1-bit. Not saying 1-bit builds bad systems, it's just there's a lot of stuff on it. Let's boot from a bare floppy and see what happens if we just put this onto the BlueSCSI and see if we just boot from that. Okay. So it's reading both of the disks just fine. Oh, I need to change the mouse sensitivity. So bad. Oh, I don't have a mouse sensitivity control panel. Darn it. Alright. Let's go over to System 6 and... Oh my god, this is a mess. I bet I know why. Because this has like, this has partially got the networking stuff from the AppleTalk Internet Router, partially installed. And I'm guessing it's having a problem with the BlueSCSI V2. Let's get these things out of here. And there's so much stuff on this thing. Copy of empty folder, my god. God. Okay. Get out of there. See if it works. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Do you have any questions? Feel free to ask. Look at that! Look at that. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So now we've got a full System 605 with all of our control panels like we'd expect to have. Change that mouse tracking speed. Oh, thank the gods. That's so much better. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Trina says, can I have your plus? No, you can't. No, you can't. Ah, no! There we go. I'm rusty. I'm rusty. It's been years since I played this game. Well, not years. I think I played this game last time I had this machine running. There's an interesting like momentum mechanic with this. So like you move the mouse and like it doesn't directly translate to the movement of the ship. It's a fun game. I like it. I spent many hours on this when I was a kid. There we go. Admittedly, I played it on an SE with like, you know, an ADB mouse. These older mice are just a little less sensitive. There we go. Remember to hit that like and subscribe. That's awesome. That is a Mac Plus with internal SCSI. That's pretty great. Joe, you did good. I don't know if you're on the stream today. You said you might not make it, but if you watch this later on the VOD, you done good. That's a cool thing. That is a cool thing. All right. Well, that was record time. I've only been streaming for an hour, but that was it. That's like the easiest install I've ever seen for one of these old classic Macs. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but I'll probably just end the stream and go eat my dinner. But that's pretty great. No. Gutbomb says, I've seen many people install these, and yours is the first one I've seen that's worked first try without adjusting it. So here's the thing, right? So like it clips on, and it feels like it goes on all the way, but it didn't. I didn't notice it until I was looking at it very closely, that the front set of pins didn't quite go onto the chip. So I had to click it again a second time. But yeah, no, it seems to be working just fine. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Watsex says, nice, I gotta get out my Crystal Quests and Dark Castles now that I've got an SE spun up. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Joe is here. Hello, welcome to the stream, Joe. We did it. It worked. It went on and clipped right on and it works. It's running on it right now. Well done. It's a good piece of kit. Very cool. There's an extension in this system that I'm running on this machine for like SCSI acceleration. Probably doesn't do anything useful. God knows, one of those utilities from like 1987 that doesn't actually do anything. But removing that SCSI accelerator extension and some of the Ethernet local talk stuff that I had in here mistakenly fixed it. We're booting up just fine. Everything's running okay. It's cool. That's a cool piece of tech, I have to say. Clipper Plus, not bad. I'm very impressed with the 3D printed clip, because those are the hardest things to find these days, right? Like nobody makes carrier clips that go on top of a dip chip. Like you're lucky to find like a dip socket, just a regular old like squish it in dip socket. Finding one that actually goes over the top, forget about it. Forget about it. 3D printing it is a brilliant idea. I love it. It's very cool. Garth Beagle says, okay, I just ordered one. There you go. What else can I say? Like that's an impressive product. I like it. I like it a lot. Ah, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, no, so the next thing for Classic Macs for me, probably not before I move, so probably not this year. I would really love to get my hands on an SE30. I love these old black and white Macs, and I love this Mac, but it's very slow. It's so slow. I would love an SE30 one of these days. But I gotta get my Centris fixed first. Big Bad Biologist did offer, and I took him up on the offer to recap it and the power supply. So he's at VCF right now, so I'm not gonna bother him about it. I'll probably send it out next week at some point. So that'll be a stream to look for on his channel. But yeah, that's it for me today. It's just installing and testing and troubleshooting. Well, there's no troubleshooting for the Clipper. It works fine. Heck yeah. Oh, 8386SX is here. Are we clipping? We are clipping. This is booted off of the Clipper Plus on a BlueSCSI V1. Working just fine. We got lots of stuff on here. Most of it I don't know what it is, because I haven't really taken a close look at this image. Mac Paint, Mac Draw. Photoshop, what, it's early version? Oh, Photoshop 1.0 Beta 1. Heck yeah. Look at that. So yeah, it's working great. No problems. That's right. That's right. It's, it's worth it. I really like the BlueSCSIs. I have my V2, my internal V2 that I soldered up on stream. Piece of cake to put together. And it's been a heck of a thing. It's been very nice. This is going to go into the Centris once it gets fixed, so that I can do global talk things with the Centris. That'll be nice. I want an external V2, so it's probably going to be the next one that I buy, is a V2 external, and then print some cases for it. The only downside to the V2, especially in its external size, its external guise, is that it's bigger than the V1, which it's really just aesthetics. The V2 is so much better than the V1. There's just so many more things it can do. It doesn't really matter. I do like the little aesthetics though. The very small V1 externals are very nice. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for the stream. Let's switch over to the A camera. Play y'all out. So yeah, that was a complete success. Complete success. This was going to be going into the Plus, which is complete overkill. There's no reason you need to put a V2 into a Mac Plus. It's just not fast enough to take advantage of it. Also, the cool Wi-Fi SCSI stuff, I think, needs System 7.5. And you don't want to run System 7.5 on a Plus. I don't even know if it will run. 7.0 is already slow enough on a Plus that I don't like to run it. I tend to run System 6 on it, just to keep it a little snappier. But yeah, that was a huge success. Making a note here. So I'm going to bid y'all adieu, and I'm going to go get some dinner and nurse this headache that I've had all day. Oh, and probably go play some VR later. But yeah, this has been great. Very successful stream, very fast. Clipper Plus, worth it. Definitely. Definitely worth it. Well done, Joe. It's a cool product. I like it a lot. Have a good night, everybody. I hope you take care of yourselves and others, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor.